You can be standing in the middle of a packed concert, surrounded by 20,000 screaming fans, and still feel like you are the only person on the face of the earth. It is one of the most painful feelings in the world to be physically close to people, but feel miles away from them emotionally. This feeling of being lonely in a crowd is a massive paradox of our modern lives. We are more connected than ever, yet more people report feeling isolated than at any other time in history. This isn't just about being shy or needing more friends. It is a deep psychological gap that happens when our need for true connection isn't being met by the people standing right in front of us. In this video, we are going to break down the invisible wall effect, look at how your childhood might be shaping your current loneliness, and walk through the exact steps you can take to finally feel like you belong. We need to start by clearing something up. There is a huge difference between being alone and being lonely. Solitude is a choice. It's that peaceful feeling of sitting on your porch with a cup of coffee, listening to the birds, and feeling totally at peace with yourself. Loneliness, however, is a biological distress signal. It is your brain telling you that your social calories are dangerously low. Think about a woman named Sarah. Sarah is at a wedding for one of her best friends. There is music, dancing, and free food. She is surrounded by people she has known for a decade. But as she sits at the table watching everyone laugh, she feels like she's watching a movie instead of being in the room. She feels like she's behind a thick sheet of glass. This is what we call subjective isolation. It doesn't matter how many bodies are in the room. What matters is the quality of the invisible threads connecting you to those bodies. This invisible wall effect happens because physical proximity does not equal emotional intimacy. You can stand an inch away from someone, but if you don't feel seen, known, or understood, you are essentially in a room by yourself. It's like being thirsty while standing in the middle of the ocean. There is water everywhere, but not a drop of it can actually quench your thirst. Why does this happen? Why do we feel so disconnected when we are literally surrounded by humans? One of the biggest culprits is surface-level interaction. We spend so much of our lives doing what I call social maintenance. This is the small talk about the weather, the how's work, questions, and the fine thanks answers. These interactions are the fast food of social life. They might fill the silence for a moment, but they have zero nutritional value for your soul. When we stick to the surface, we are protecting ourselves. We are afraid that if we show our true, messy selves, people will judge us or walk away. This fear of vulnerability creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. We stay safe by staying shallow, but because we stay shallow, we never feel a real connection, which makes us feel more lonely. Then, there is the highlight reel culture. When you're in a crowd, you are seeing everyone else's level 10 energy. You see them laughing, posing for photos, and looking like they're having the time of their lives. Meanwhile, you are experiencing your own level 3 internal thoughts, your doubts, your tiredness, your anxiety. You compare your internal mess to their external polished version and conclude that something must be wrong with you. You feel like a glitch in a perfect system. There is also a psychological phenomenon called the bystander effect that applies to our emotions. In a small group of 3 people, if you look sad, your friends will notice and ask what's wrong. But in a crowd of 50, everyone assumes that someone else is the close friend who will check on you. Because everyone thinks someone else is doing it, nobody does it. You end up feeling invisible because the responsibility for connection has been diluted by the sheer number of people. To really understand why you might feel like an outsider, we have to go back in time, way back. In the 1950s and 60s, psychologists like John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth started looking at how babies bond with their parents. They discovered something called attachment theory, and it is the secret map to why you feel the way you do in crowds today. Think of your attachment style as the operating system for your relationships. If you have a secure attachment, you probably feel okay in crowds. You trust that people generally like you, and if they don't, it's not the end of the world. You can navigate a party with confidence because your foundation is solid. But many of us have what we call insecure attachment styles. First, there is anxious attachment. If this is you, you are hypervigilant. You are like a human radar dish, constantly scanning the room for signs of rejection. If a friend doesn't wave back immediately, or if a group stops talking when you walk up, your brain screams, "They hate me." You feel excluded even when you are included because you are always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Then there is avoidant attachment. This is the person who feels overwhelmed by the crowd and deactivates. You might be at the party, but you're leaning against the wall, checking your phone every 30 seconds. You pull away emotionally to protect yourself from being overwhelmed. You tell yourself you don't need these people anyway, but deep down, that wall you built to keep the pain out is also keeping the love out. Finally, there is disorganized attachment, which is a mix of both. You desperately want to be part of the group, but you are also terrified of it. It's like having one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake at the same time. You walk into a crowd, feel a surge of fear, and then feel guilty for wanting to leave. The good news? These styles aren't a life sentence. Your brain is plastic, which means you can learn to become more secure through awareness and practice. It isn't all in your head, though. The world we live in is actually designed to make us lonely. Think about urbanization. We live in high-density cities like New York, Tokyo, or London, where thousands of people live in the same square mile. Yet, city dwellers often report the highest levels of loneliness. Why? Because when there are too many people, we experience social overload. We stop seeing individuals and start seeing obstacles. We put our head down, avoid eye contact, and build mental shells just to survive the commute. And we can't talk about loneliness without talking about the digital paradox. Social media gives us the illusion of connection without the effort of it. You can see what your high school friend had for lunch in 2024, but you haven't heard their voice in 5 years. We are connected to 1,000 people, but have no one to call at 3 a.m. when we're scared. We are trading deep, slow-cooked relationships for microwavable digital interactions. We have also lost our third places. This is a term coined by sociologist Ray Oldenburg. Your first place is home, your second place is work. The third place is the local cafe, the pub, the community park, or the library. These are places where you can go without an invitation and just be with other people. In modern society, these places are disappearing or becoming too expensive. Without these hubs, our only way to see people is through planned events, which adds a layer of pressure that makes organic connection almost impossible. Sometimes, the call is coming from inside the house. Low self-esteem acts like a filter. If you believe you are unworthy or boring, your brain will actually ignore positive social cues. If someone smiles at you, you might think they're just being polite, or they must want something. You filter out the belonging and only let in the evidence that supports your feeling of being an outsider. Then there is masking. Many of us, especially if we have social anxiety, put on a character when we go out. We become the funny one, the smart one, or the helpful one. The problem is that even if people love the character, you know they don't know the real you. You end up feeling more lonely because the you they are connecting with isn't actually you. It's an exhausting performance that leaves you feeling drained and more isolated than if you had stayed home. We also tend to fall for the secret code myth. We look at a group of friends laughing and think, they have a secret code for belonging that I was never given. We think everyone else got a manual for life that we missed. But here is the truth. Almost everyone in that crowd is just as nervous as you are. They are all wondering if they said the wrong thing or if their outfit looks weird. You aren't the only one without the manual. There is no manual. So, how do we fix this? How do we break down that invisible wall? It starts with a concept called radical vulnerability. This doesn't mean telling your darkest secrets to a stranger at the bus stop. It means being willing to be the first person to be real. Instead of saying, I'm fine, try saying, honestly, it's been a bit of a long week. When you drop your mask, it gives other people permission to drop theirs. You bridge the gap by being the first one to reach across it. Next, stop worrying about the crowd and focus on the individual. The human brain isn't designed to connect with a crowd. It's designed to connect with a person. When you're at a large gathering, ignore the room and find one person to have a real conversation with. Ask them things you actually care about. Instead of, what do you do for work? Try, what's something you've been obsessed with lately? Curiosity is the ultimate antidote to social anxiety. When you are genuinely curious about someone else, your focus shifts from, how do I look, to, who are they? And the wall starts to crumble. You should also look for shared interest communities. Connection is much easier when you have a third thing to focus on. If you join a hiking group, a book club, or a volunteer organization, the focus isn't on socializing, it's on the task. The connection happens as a side effect of working together. It's much less pressure and much more organic. Finally, practice being present. Loneliness in a crowd is often fueled by the noise in our own heads. We are so busy thinking about what we're going to say next, or how we're being perceived, that we aren't actually there. Mindfulness isn't just for meditation, it's for parties too. Feel your feet on the floor, listen to the actual sound of the music, and look at the colors in the room. When you are grounded in the now, the feeling of being a ghost starts to fade. You realize that you aren't just watching the movie, you are part of the scene. Belonging isn't something that happens to you, it's something you build, one small, honest interaction at a time. It takes courage to step out from behind the glass, but the warmth on the other side is worth every bit of the effort.